All right, welcome. Hello there. Now, 7176 notes. Now we're going to start solving for radicals. All right, or solving for a variable with radicals, I should say. So the directions are going to say, let's say, solve for x. Now, we've kind of done this already. Think of if we had x squared equals 9. So first semester we said, how do we undo a squared? We knew we square root both sides. And x equals, remember it was plus or minus 3. I remember we had to have the plus or minus because 3 squared equals 9 and also negative 3 squared equals 9. So we said there's two solutions that work. Now that we're more familiar with cubed roots, fourth root, right, when that index isn't just 2, okay, we can now solve things of this nature. Let's say I have x cubed equals 27. Well, to get rid of a squared, we do the square root. So to undo a cube, we do a cube root. And we know the cube root of 27, okay, the cube root of 27 is 3. Now, another way to think about this is think of if you had x to the third, we could raise it to the 1/3 power. Okay, kind of if we had 2/3 x equals 7, to get x by itself, you would multiply by the reciprocal. Well, to get rid of this, you can raise a power to the reciprocal. So this would equal 27 to the 1/3, which is something you could also put in your calculator to get x equals 3. Now, notice I didn't do the plus minus there. Well, that's because with the odd, all right, remember with the odd, it's okay. Because it can be negative or it can be positive. It's one or the other. It wouldn't be both. But let's say we had a 3x to the fourth power equals 48. Now, before you do anything, you have to get your x term by itself. So let's divide by 3 and get that out of there. So I have x to the fourth power equals 16. Now, again, you can take the fourth root or raise to the 1/4 power, whatever's easiest for you. I'm going to take the fourth root here. Okay, and then when you break down 16, we get 4 and 4, 2 and 2, 2 and 2, and we have 4 of a kind. So you will be asked to simplify our roots. So what we did earlier in the chapter can't leave us. So now here my answer is x equals plus or minus 2. Now think to yourself, why did I put plus minus? Ding, 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 because it's even. All right, when my index is even, when it's an even number, all right, we have to consider the plus or minus for this reason here. When it's an odd, you don't, because it's going to be negative or positive, one or the other. So please, please, please remember that, otherwise you'll lose a point. Biggest mistake students make. All right, so when it's even, don't forget your plus or minus. All right, let's try another one. Example 4. X cubed plus 16 equals 8. X cubed plus 16 equals 8. So get your x term by itself. So get the 16 out of there. And I have x cubed equals negative 8. The cubed root, and we know the cubed root of negative 8 is negative 2 times negative 2 times negative 2. So x is negative 2. All right, a few more. Easy notes today. All we're doing is combining solving with what we know about radicals. X minus 2 to the fourth power equals 81. Now here, excuse me, because it's in parentheses, we can't get rid of the 2 first. So we got to get rid of the fourth power first. So I'm going to take the fourth root of both. All right, now that's gone. So over here I'm left with x minus 2. The fourth root of 81 we know is what? If you know it off the top of your head, just go. If not, you have to go 9, 9, 3, 3, 3, 3. I have 4 of a kind. So plus or minus 3, because our index is 4. It's even. So then I add 2 to both sides. And I get x equals 2 plus or minus 3. Alright, that 2 goes in front because we're adding it, so I get x equals 5 and x equals negative 1. Are my two solutions there. Alright, so some different combinations of things that can happen. 2 more examples and I'm done. Alright, negative 3 times the quantity x plus 4 to the 5th power equals 96. Alright, so the first thing we got to do is get this whole term by itself. So I'm going to divide everything by negative 3. So I get x plus 4 to the 5th power is equal to negative 32. Alright, we have to get rid of the 5. So I take the 5th root of both sides. The 5th root of both sides. On the left, I'm left with x plus 4. The 5th root of 32 is negative 2. Alright, again, it's not plus minus because it's negative 2 5 times, so that's just your solution. Subtract 4 from both sides. So x is negative 6. Alright, so far our answers have worked out pretty. Alright, we've gotten nice numbers, but what if I give you something like this? X to the 3 halves equals 2. Now, the first thing I would do to get rid of this fraction is go to the reciprocal power. Alright, so the reciprocal of 3 halves is 2/3. So now on the left, I'm just left with x. But I'm going to rewrite this, alright, to be the cubed root of 2 squared. Alright, so all I do is switch forms, and then I get x equals the cubed root of 4. And that's my answer. That's an acceptable answer. Alright, they're not always going to be nice whole numbers. Sometimes we're going to have to adjust and use the rules that we learned at the beginning of the chapter. Alright, so we need to combine solving with what we know about radicals in order to get the solution we desire. Alright, so that's solving, and that's all I got. We'll see you later.